So we learn this is the source where it all started. No one really knows how old it is, but what we do know is that it was discovered in 1919 by Miranda. It had lived under the village likely for centuries. The root of the Mutomycete is this weird looking fetus growth suspended in the air underneath the village. Now, why does it look like this? No one knows really, as its origins cannot be traced any further back than 1919. This fetus looking thing is referred to as the fungal root. This is the Black God, the object of worship for the cultist villagers and its prophet, Mother Miranda. When Miranda touched the mold, she essentially merged with it, becoming a sort of like a host. When Miranda died, this is why Ethan started to crystallize, the same way as enemies did in the Baker House and the same way as the Four Lords. Either way, a growth was then triggered in the root which caused it to consume the entire village. This was likely a defense mechanism in the mold as it tried to prevent itself from dying by consuming whatever was left to regain its strength. This resurgence was halted by Ethan detonating the bomb planted by Chris Redfield. The destruction of the fungal root was successful, but as a result, this caused all mold-infected victims to die too. Throughout the village, we keep seeing a familiar sight, the unmistakable Umbrella logo, but what are they doing here? In the lab, we find a letter on the side which is from a person who got lost on a hiking expedition, and Miranda took this half-dead person in from the cold. This person, a medical student, studied with Miranda and she became a mentor to them. This person was none other than Oswell E. Spencer, who we mentioned earlier, the founding member and CEO of the Umbrella Corporation. If you don't know who the Umbrella Corporation are, then seriously, go and play Resident Evil 0, 1, 2 and 3 and then come back. I'm just kidding. But it would be awesome to say that the Umbrella Corporation were massively involved and helped Miranda, but no, that's not what happened at all. In this letter, Spencer mentions that they had differing goals. Miranda's was to bring back a single person, whereas Spencer's was to make the next step in human evolution. Spencer mentions that he's leaving the village and going on an expedition to Africa to research the progenitor virus. Spencer also mentions that he's starting a company with friends called Umbrella, and we all know how that one turned out. He mentions that he'll use the logo that he and Miranda found in the caves for his company logo, and that's pretty much it. He learned a lot about mutation, biology, and replication of life forms, stole a logo, and started a company, instead focusing on creating a virus rather than using a mold. And lastly, we move on to the lovable but extremely obese Duke. As many of you know, the Duke is a direct nod to the Resident Evil 4 merchant, even stating that he's friends with a Resident Evil 4 merchant. Now it appears that Duke does business with the other lords, even having a special room in each area, and we find a note in the castle saying Lady Dimitrescu has a meeting with the Duke. We find a note just after defeating the second giant which states that the merchant would bring old newspapers from the outside world to a man named Ernest, even though everything from the outside world was forbidden. It seems that Miranda needed her brainwashing to be consistently strong and didn't want the villagers to be distracted by outside events. The Duke seems to appear human, but upon Ethan asking the Duke who or what he is, the Duke responds by telling him that even he can't answer that question. This may indicate that the Duke is omnipresent, meaning he is available wherever is needed, moving quickly to a different location. Where there's coin to be made. He also seems to know everything about Miranda's plans too. Did he survive the blast? I mean, it's likely, given that he's able to move quickly to other locations. Or is the Duke made from mold himself? So to finish, this game opened up a few theories, especially at the end when Chris told the pilot to set a course for BSAA Europe HQ. Chris has seemingly lost all trust in them now. These theories have been rattling around in my brain for a few days now, but here are a few. So, at the end of Resident Evil 7 in Not a Hero, we find out that Lucas Baker was sending information to a different company and planning to betray the connections. Now, it's possible that he was either sending the data to the BSAA or Blue Umbrella at the end of Resident Evil 7. The BSAA were there to eliminate Lucas Baker and recover the data, tying up any loose ends in the process. However, Chris didn't know this. In the Not a Hero DLC, he did seem suspicious at the fact that the BSAA were working together with Blue Umbrella. The BSAA relocated the Winters to a location in Europe which just happened to be right next to the village. They could have chosen anywhere in the whole of Europe. Very suspicious. Then the BSAA sent bioweapons to the village instead of soldiers. Why? Well, it could be because Chris led that rogue squad of BSAA operatives on the mission, and Zoe Baker says that she saw a letter from the BSAA asking Redfield what the hell he's up to. I believe that the BSAA sent these bioweapons to the village to take out Chris and his squad, as they were beginning to know too much. Why would the BSAA send their own human soldiers to try and take down an elite squad of soldiers? I think that's why they sent bioweapons. to prevent the losses of their own soldiers.